As the White House works to broker peace, new reporting warns that more than 1,500 radical activist groups, many with ties to Iran, are mobilizing here at home in the wake of the president's strike on Iran. Groups like CARE, Code Pink, and the Answer Coalition, some funded through dark money channels, already planning and even engaging in street protests. And now the White House says that thousands of Iranian nationals have crossed into the country illegally under the Biden administration. Their whereabouts? Completely unknown. Jackie, you've talked a little bit about some of the fears of who came across the border, what they might be up to. You know, and it could be very violent, but it could also be part of these web of protests, some that do get violent, of course, but that are supposed to look like the American people rising up in opposition to Trump and his warmongering policies. And what we're finding, in fact, is it's kind of the exact opposite. This is elite structured stuff here.
I'm not surprised by this at all, given what we've seen, the organized, very highly funded protests that we saw on campus that were not just your everyday average students that were, basically calling for death to Israel and the destruction of Israel, spewing their anti-Semitism. So I'm not surprised that these other NGOs now are coordinating in the same way. There is a lot of money and a lot of effort put behind putting these groups strategically here in the United States. An open border certainly didn't help with any of that. We've also got the news that 11 Iranians were arrested by ICE. 2 of them allegedly had terror ties. 1 of them allegedly had ties to Hezbollah, which is also a terrorist organization. Many of them, they went down the list, had committed crimes in this country and served time or were serving time. Many of them were ordered to already be ejected from the country, but the Biden administration just never followed up with it. And that is what happens here. And that is why it's dangerous. So I think that people have a right to think about that, to look at what's happening and realize it's not happening in a vacuum. It's very structured, it's very organized, and it's happening for a reason, which is to bring that narrative over onto our soil here and potentially danger with it. There also were some reports that Trump got a warning about some of these sleeper cells before Israel bombed Iran. And so I think this has been on the radar. I think they've got phenomenal intelligence on it, and I imagine that it's going to be handled accordingly. But, we've got an issue in this country when we turn a blind eye and just say we're going to open our doors and let anybody and everybody walk across the border and not ask some questions about who you are, where you've been, and why you're coming here, not to mention breaking the law to do it. DeRoy, the journalist who looks into a lot of this and does a lot of the great work on it, Azra Nomani, she calls this a protest industry.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's facilitated by a tax code that gives an advantage to nonprofit NGO organizations like this. I kind of wonder, this does not seem particularly charitable to me. I wonder, do you think Congress ought to spend some time looking at the tax code and the nonprofit tax code in particular and how it overlaps with what some of these groups are doing?
I think it's a very good idea. For years and years, people, conservatives have talked about the idea of defunding the left. And a lot of what the left gets is taxpayer money. Money from all sorts of U.S. government agencies and probably state and local agencies to engage in all kinds of chaos. To underscore some of what Jackie said, that this is organized and structured, one of the tells here is that you look at the protest signs, and they're almost never handwritten with crayons or Sharpies. They're printed, they're beautiful, they're all the same signs, coast to coast. How does that happen? Is that an accident? I don't think so. This stuff is very organized and coordinated. And what really scares me is how the left we've really seen this over the last few years and very much the last couple of months. They're not just saying, hey, let's be nice to the poor people. Let's, be charitable with folks who are vulnerable, what have you. You're seeing them increasingly violent. You've seen the chaos in Los Angeles with the burning Waymos just a couple of weeks ago, the attacks on Tesla facilities and Tesla vehicles, Tesla owners, the 2 Israeli diplomats murdered in Washington, D.C. a couple of weeks ago. Just on the subway, just below our building, a couple of days ago, I saw a guy wearing a T-shirt. T-shirt said Luigi Mangione 2028.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy who killed the CEO of, allegedly killed the CEO of United Healthcare, okay, now being touted as a presidential candidate rather than excoriated as a horrible human being. The left in this country is increasingly violent, increasingly unhinged, and I do fear that they may see this as defending the Ayatollah as their great new cause.
Dagan, one of the people who helps Nomani with her research wrote this: the very people bankrolling and leading these so-called grassroots movements are the crowned royalty of the nonprofit world, sitting in their air-conditioned offices, collecting six-figure salaries while encouraging the common folk to torch their own cities in the name of saving democracy. It's manufactured chaos sold as revolution.
It's an anti-American hate cult. A lot of these people indoctrinated on college campuses. And this is their job that they then go out and do for a living. And you can see it. And I brought this up, the two individuals who were marching in Lower Manhattan for peace. I lose track of what they marched for. They were marching against ICE in Lower Manhattan, and they were laughing and mocking a black mother who was trying to get to work.
Yeah.
Right, that bun wearing.
One of them, the older woman, is a lifelong protester. Has a job though. The other one, the man bun, with the grin on his face, he sued the New York City Police Department over the way they handled him because they removed his face mask during a COVID-era protest for Black Lives Matter. He's a white man, and he got money. He got money from the city of New York.
We all paid for that.
Right. These are the people that if they're not getting paid, they're suing because you put your hands on them, and then they pocket that cash. It is a travesty what they're doing. But they're Marxist haters of freedom in America. Although they claim to be exercising their freedom, they really want to just take yours away.
By the way, they don't even know what they're protesting for. They get orientation decks before they go to these protests to help them understand.
Amazing.
Like the folks sitting in the air conditioning give them the orientation deck. Here's what we're against today.
Little briefings, huh?
Taylor.
You know, she mentioned that a lot of these people actually hate America. One of the main funders of all of these social networks, Brian, that you cited in your introduction is that Neville Roy Singham guy, whose father was from Sri Lanka, mom from Cuba. And instead of coming to America because they love America, he's trying to make America more like Cuba. Does that make sense? He's a follower of Maoism and a self-proclaimed socialist. Took advantage of the U.S., founded an IT company that sold it, that now allows him to fund all of this stuff.
Right.
Strategic consultant for Huawei, all pro-China, had his IT network open up offices all throughout China. So to me, that's very simple to see. The person funding it lines up with those views. It's create riots on the street, create chaos, and try to, I guess, take down this country.
But you know what the difference is? In 2020, that stuff caught us on our back foot, I think, because it was the mix of social media and what was happening in the streets. And you're like, what is this? Has America changed fundamentally in its character? And what we've thankfully discovered in a few years is, no, these people are maybe crooks, but they're deceitful at best. And they don't represent what America represents. They represent like the guy you're talking about who lives in China and made money as a capitalist and wants to wreck capitalism in America.
Just real quick, what they're doing is hijacking the Democrat Party. This isn't a party like in the 90s with Bill Clinton. This is a party now that has gone very, very extreme, very far left. You've got these people, Taylor, as you rightly point out, that are coming from other countries and trying to impose their views on us, and they are silently doing it through that party, saying, oh, no, we're Democrats, we care about people, but they've got a completely different agenda, and that's what I think people in this country don't really understand. That party has completely been hijacked, and we're going to talk later about why a socialist is running for mayor here.
I don't know if they hijacked them. I think that they just offered the Democrats a ride, and all of these liberals just willingly got on the bus with these anti-American Marxist lunatics.
A lot of them are very happy to be on that
because that's the party now.
Yeah, I mean, where's the adult in the Democrat Party? Say, okay, we don't need these people. We want to go back to standard liberalism, tax and spend. We nice and went back to that rather than burn and destroy and smash, which is what the Democrat Party is now.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not a bus you want to get on, Gus.